The story begins with a little boy walking alone in the forest. He was calling his brother, and said that he'll never talk to him again. He slowly walked forward while calling his brother stupid and saying that he hated him. Suddenly, he heard a voice and thought that it's his brother. He looked back saying he'll not forgive him even if he said sorry to him because it's too late. But the next moment, the boy disappeared from there leaving only his bag chain behind. There's a cave entrance here so someone might have dragged him in. After some time, a girl named Yasmin was walking on the road holding her mobile like she's recording a vlog. She first said hello to her viewer and told them that today, she's way out here in prefecture, deep in the mountain of Mt. Shirao. She asked her viewers if this name seems familiar to them. She answered herself that of course it does. This place is a hot topic in the occult world, home to the legendary man-eating cave. And today, she's gonna dive headfirst into the truth. Behind all those rumors and creepy disappearances floating around this town. Inside a bus, a boy was sitting who was watching Yasmin's vlog. He couldn't believe that Yasmin actually went to that place. Inside the bus we see that only this boy is sitting. After some walking, Yasmin found a guy and asked him if he could answer some of her questions. She said that she's looking into the case of the missing kids around here and asked him if he knows something about it. The man just laughed and said with a smile, "From the media? Huh? Bold of you to show up. You want to get decked? Get lost." The boy saw the man's response through the video and said that he's still a menace. The boy mentions that it's been 5 years since the coming-of-age ceremony, and nothing's changed. Not the town, not the people. The boy left the bus and reached his home. Outside his house, a dog was leashed up, it started barking at the boy. He couldn't believe that his own dog is barking at him now. But he understands why this is happening. He left Tokyo after they got Hana. The boy entered the house and announced that he came back. Someone answered that they just finished a call with Yokata. The boy looked around the house and thought that it's all exactly the way he left it. Right then, Hajime saw a closet filled with many different toys. He was really happy to see them and said that that era was the absolute best. He picked up a toy and called it Vigilider. He said that this is the most brutal and most terrifying villain ever. While looking around, he found a picture which made him a little sad. In the picture, there seems to be Hajime with his friend. He thought that they didn't talk for 5 whole years and wondered if they'll still be friends. He thought it's just wishful thinking, and said that there's no way someone like Hajime could hang out with UMI. Right then he received a message from UMI. He said that they are getting together and also invited Hajime. When he saw the message, he thought that small towns are really creepy because he never told anyone he came back, but UMI still knows he has returned. The next moment, all the old friends got together and were sitting in a hotel. A girl asked a guy named Riku about his married life. She asked him if everything's going well with that adorable wife of his. Riku didn't answer and said that they just sat down and she's already jumping into that. He asked Akane if she had ever heard of taking things in order. Akane heard that and asked Riku to not be dramatic. She assumes that Fubuta, the girl who was sitting beside her, also wants to know about his married life. But Fubuta said that they should wait a little before jumping into that topic. At that moment, a guy named Jen asked if he should pick spicy fried chicken or wasabi mayo. Akane answered that he should order both of them. Like this, everyone gave their order one by one. Hajime looked at the scene and smiled thinking that this feels like old times. While others started talking about why UMI still isn't here, Hajime was thinking that he never really fit into their conversation. This kinda makes him wonder why they even invited him. He assumes that he used to be close with UMI, that's why they invited him. He can't think of any other reason. Right then, Yumai entered the place and the first thing he did was hug Hajime. He didn't stop just there. Yumai started playing around with Hajime saying that he's grown so much. Seeing them, others thought that Hajime and Yumai are still the same. Umi even started feeding Hajime with his own hands. Right then, Riku showed a YouTube video in which Yumai was also present. They all were really shocked and couldn't believe that Yasmin really came here. So the guy who asked the vlogger to get lost was Yumai. Jen asked what Yasmin was even doing in this town. Riku answered by asking them if they knew about the man-eating cave that's been passed down in this town. He explained that long ago, there was a samurai clan that lost a war and was exiled from their homeland. Disgraced and driven into ruin, their former glory faded like a dream. Desperate to survive, they turned to raiding villages along their path, killing anyone who dared to resist. But word of their cruelty eventually reached the authorities. And so, every last member of the clan was executed and their severed heads displayed along the Shursui River. But the gold and treasure the clan had plundered were never found. Time passed until one day, a rumor began to spread. Deep in the cave on Mount Shirao, the sacred peak of Washiro, the clan's lost treasure still lay hidden. Many ventured into the cave in search of it, but not a single one ever returned. Was it the curse of the beheaded samurai? Or the wrath of the land itself? The saying is famous in this town, stay away from Shirao Cave, linger too close and it'll swallow you whole. Akane said that they used to say this non-stop when they were kids. Right then, one of them remembered that they went to that cave once. Before they started the story, Hajime requests to not talk about it. Hearing his request, Riku remembers that at that place Yuamai's brother disappeared. But Yuamai refused to believe it. He said that the cave has nothing to do with it. There was just his little brother's scooter at the mountain entrance. And his little brother wasn't in the cave either. Umi immediately grabbed Hajime and said that he was looking out for him. That's why he requested them to not talk about that. After they left the place, they planned to go to that cave again. All of them agreed and decided to go there tomorrow. While walking home, Hajime said to Yumai he'll not come to explore the cave with them tomorrow. He gave the reason that he's not close with everyone, so it feels really awkward to him. But Yumai didn't believe it. He said that everyone was seriously impressed that Hajime went to Tokyo on his own. He said that even Fubuta was impressed that Hajime is chasing his dreams. Umi assumes that something happened in Tokyo, that's why Hajime is saying these types of things. So he asked Hajime to just be the old Hajime while he's here. But the next day, something unexpected happened. Hajime was buried alive after the cave collapsed on him. He don't know how much time has passed since he got buried here. He wonders if the help is going to come or not. He started shouting that he doesn't want to die here, not in a place like this. Right then, Yumai appeared in front of him and blocked Hajime's shouting. He asked Hajime to stay quiet. He promised that he'll get Hajime out, but not yet. Because if he made a sound of some kind, that thing would come. Hajime was confused, wondering what Yumai is talking about. Umi pointed to the light in the deeper area of the cave and said that it's out there watching them from the dark. Someone other than them. Not someone, but something. Suddenly, Hajime's vision was blocked and he just heard a warning, it's coming. Hajime couldn't see anything and wondered who was coming. Right then he saw Yasmin's face emerging from the dark. Hajime was about to think that she's here to save them when Yumai asked him to not look. It turns out that this is just Yasmin's head. A monster appeared in front of them who was wearing Yasmin's head like a medal. Seeing the monster, Hajime remembered a saying, stay away from the Shirao cave. Linger too close and it'll swallow you whole. That place is hell. The man-eating cave. Besides Yasmin's head, the monster was also wearing Yuemai's younger brother's bag chain. While vlogging, Yasmin went near the cave. She walked up the mountain while panting, and after walking up, the first thing she saw was a kid's shoe. 3 hours before the cave-in, Umi and Hajime met with their friends. They have packed all the food and other things that needed to explore a cave and headed toward the cave. While walking, Jen said that it's so hot today. He asked who thought mountain climbing was a good idea. He said that they should be home gaming but they're dragging themselves in these mountains. Hearing that, Hajime asked him why he came here. Jen answered that he came here because whenever Yumai invite them somewhere, he feels like something fun will happen. Umi was standing at the end of the cliff and was shouting. Seeing him, Jen got an idea. He took out a fake snake and threw it toward him. Umi was about to fall down, but he held up the rock and came back up. After having some fun, they continued their journey. A moment later, they reached a shrine and spent a minute praying there. While leaving, they saw a person sitting near a wall. They thought that it's a priest who is just sleeping, so they decided to ignore him. But suddenly, the person appeared behind them and started saying random things like, the cave devours all, the cave is watching. You must not go. He continued, the cave longing to feed. It sees us, the cave is. Before that person finished, they all ran away from there. Surprisingly, when they stopped running, they were standing in front of the cave's cave-in. Seeing the cave-in, they assumed that it collapsed during last year's typhoon. Because there's no proper was to enter the cave, they decided to go back. Hajime was relieved because now he didn't have to take the risk. Others were also happy. While their way home, they saw a pile of trash. They decided to stop for a while and look around. But when they were looking around, they saw a hole that was really deep. Umi assumes that this hole could be connected to the cave system. He decided to just take a quick peek when suddenly, the ground started shaking. Because of that, the hole became bigger and they all fell down. And this is how Hajime got buried under the soil. In the present, there's a cave monster in front of Yumai and Hajime. The monster jumped around and while showing Yasmin's face, he pointed at them. Suddenly, the monster grabbed Hajime's leg and took him out of the soil. Before the monster could take away Hajime, Yumai grabbed Hajime's arm. Seeing that, the monster let out a growl and was about to attack them when Riko arrived there with a flashlight. The monster saw that others were here, so it ran away. The group immediately asked if someone else was with them. Jen seemed to notice the head of a girl being held by someone, so he got really scared. Others heard what Jen was saying about head and got really shocked. They couldn't believe it until Yumai revealed to them that streamer Yasmin had been killed by that thing. Even though Yumai doesn't know what that thing was, he knows that that thing is really dangerous. Umi picked up the phone and pointed the light at a hole nearby. Inside the hole, there were tens of hundreds of school and some other random things. Seeing them, Hajime remembered what that weird man said to them about the cave is watching. With that, Hajime realizes that this is the man-eating cave. Now the entrance is completely blocked. They don't know what to do now, they're trapped here. Jen asked Riku what they should do now because Riku is a firefighter. Riku said that they have to stay put for now. He explains that in mountain rescues, wandering around can make it way harder to get found. He said to them that he told his wife that he'd be in the mountains this morning. So by dawn, she'll probably file a missing person report through his coworkers. Which means they have to wait until dawn. Right then, Fubuda reminds them about the priest they saw outside the shrine. She said that there's a chance that the priest might notice the collapsed cave. Hearing that, they remembered the things that the lunatic priest was saying to them. The things like the cave devours and it's watching. Akane guessed that that priest was talking about the monster living inside the cave. Before they thought anything further, they heard a shout from Umi. Found it. Riku asked him what he found. Umi picked up a shirt and said that it's Taiyo's, who is his younger brother. He remembered that the monster had his brother's keychain around its neck. He didn't want to believe, but this proves it. He got up and said that it's insane. Taiyu was here. He said that it's no wonder they never found him, no matter where they searched. He was about to say a what if, but Riku stopped and asked him to get his head straight. He reminds him that it's been 12 years since Taiyu went missing. But he didn't stop. He said that Taiyu's been alone here all this time. He concludes that Taiyu is alive. That's why he decided to go on ahead. Hearing that, Akane reminds him that they agreed to stay put. But Hajime didn't listen and said that he's with Umi. Even though Hajime agreed, others didn't agree. They thought that moving from here will be danger, and there's also a monster lurking around in this cave. Suddenly, Yai pointed toward a direction and said that his clothes have been fluttering for a while now. Which means, air's flowing. And where there's airflow, there's an exit. At that moment, Riku noticed something and pointed toward Hajime's arm. Hajime looked at his arm and realized that it's broken. He shouted really loud because now he also started feeling pain. The next moment, Yumai was carrying Hajime in his back, while the other were also walking behind him. Hajime said that his legs are fine, but Yumai didn't let him walk himself, saying that he is still bleeding, so he should rest. Hearing that, he reminds Yumai that he's also injured. Umi answered by asking Hajime to not compare his body with his. Hajime is thankful because Fubuda is with them. She's a doctor, so she properly set Hajime's broken bone. Hajime thanked Fubuda and also Yumai for saving him. But Yumai said that he didn't deserve his thanks. He said that he dragged them into this mess, so when they got out, he'll treat them all to a meal. After walking for a while, they stopped at 7 p.m. and decided to rest and eat something. They took out the food and realized that if they split it up, each person would get 2 candies and 1 cookie per day. But it's close to impossible to survive with just this much food a day. Akane told them that they should try to save their phone and flashlight batteries. Light is the most important thing in the cave. After all the talking, they looked back and saw that Umi was already asleep. So they also decided to turn off all the lights and sleep. While all of them were sleeping peacefully, the cave monster appeared on top of Jen. Something came out from the monster's nose and it touched Jen's face. After some hours of sleep, when Jen woke up, he was completely fine and just thought that he had a bad dream. Beside him, everyone else has already woken up and Yue even ate all his food that meant to last for a day. Fubuda reminded him that the snake she gave him was supposed to last for a whole day, but he already ate it. Hearing that, you might guess that Fubuda is the type of girl that saves the best for the last. He said that this is the reason she's not getting married. In response, Fubuda picked up a big rock and asked Yumai to say that again. With that, Yumai apologized and they started walking again. While walking, Jen was thinking about the dream he had last night. He thought that that dream felt too real. He felt that something like a tentacle actually touched him. Because Jen was walking really behind and was mumbling to himself for a while, so Hajime just hoped that Jen was okay. Umi said that Jen is always the sensitive type. All these incidents might just be too much for him. Telling that, Yumai said to Hajime that if he's really worried, he should go and talk to Jen. So Hajime did just that and went to talk to Jen. Seeing him, Jen assumes that Yumai got tired by giving piggyback rides to Hajime all this time, so he sent Hajime to Jen so he could carry him now. But Hajime refuses and says that he's here to ask him if he's alright. Jen answered that he's fine and asked Hajime what he thinks about the monster. Jen asked him this because Hajime saw the monster up close. Hajime answered that the monster looked human. But it wasn't, it was hideous, vicious, and had huge eyes. Hearing that, Jen realizes that all the stories about this cave were true and now they are stuck with a man-eating monster. Hajime then said that he thinks they aren't in immediate danger. That creature had plenty of time to attack them. But it didn't. Hajime assumes that the reason that monster didn't attack them is because it isn't confidence winning against 6 people at once. Jen was shocked and impressed because even in this situation, Hajime is really calm. At that moment, Yumai called everyone and showed them a phone with a selfie stick. They tried to turn it on, but its batter was dead. Fortunately, Fubuda had a power band so they easily started charging the phone. While the phone was charging, the dumb Akane with the survival instinct of a fart decided to move around alone. She went some distance away from the group and took out the cigarettes to smoke. But while she was smoking, the monster appeared in front of her and grabbed her from the face. This is what you get for having the survival instinct of a smoke. On the other hand, the group has turned on the phone and they found a video in it. This video was shot just 3 days ago. The person who was holding a phone was calling for Yasemin. But no matter how much they called, they didn't get any answer. Suddenly, they spotted a monster eating Yasemin. Seeing the video, Jen wasn't able to control himself and threw up. Others were also shocked and scared. In the video, before the monster completely devoured Yasemin, it looked toward the camera and then, the video ended. While others were scared and called that creature a man-eating monster, Hajime said that they don't know if it really a man-eating monster. He mentions that in the video, the monster tried to eat Yasemin, but when they saw the monster, the lower body of Yasemin was gone, but her head was fine. So maybe the monster didn't eat her. Hajime assumes that it might have had a different goal, that's why it took her head. Hearing that, Riku get a little angry and said that he didn't care if that monster had some kind of goal, a person still died by its hands. Right then, Fubuda looked around and reminded them Akane isn't here. They went back and saw a half-burned cigarette on the ground. Beside the cigarette, they also noticed a cave which was just a wife enough for a person to crawl in. Without thinking, Yumai started crawling in. Seeing that, Riku called him insane and told him that he shouldn't just crawl in without thinking. Umi answered that he's thinking and said that that monster is a coward who creeps around in the dark, targeting women when they're alone. He smiled and said that if he catches it, he'll burn it to crisp. But still, they can't just let him go in alone, so Riku went behind him. Now only Fubuda, Jen, and Hajime are left behind. They sat beside the tunnel and just hoped that Riku and Yumai would come back with Akane. Right then, Jen said that Yumai isn't thinking straight. He can't believe that Yumai really thinks his brother is still alive. There's just no way someone missing 12 years ago is still alive. But despite the chances of Taiyu being alive are close to zero, Yumai was still dead serious. Fubuda remembers that those two brothers were inseparable. Fubuda, Yumai and others grew up together, so she saw everything. That bond Yumai and his brother had. Even after Taiyu went missing, their bond never changed. While they were talking about Taiyu and Yumai's bond, Yumai reached the other side of the tunnel. But the first thing Yumai saw shocked him. He saw his brother, who went missing 12 years ago, standing in front of him. Before he thinks that Taiyu is still alive, he notices that even after 12 years, Taiyu is still looking the same. He asked Taiyu if he's even real. Taiyu just said that it didn't matter. He grabbed Yumai's hand and said that everyone's waiting. Umi was confused, wondering what Taiyu was talking about. Even with all these questions, Yumai just followed Taiyu asking if he's really real. But Yumai didn't notice that Taiyu's hands are looking kind of like that monster. When Taiyu looked behind and said, "It's me," Yumai picked him up. He immediately hugged him, asking him to forgive him. Taiyu said that he was scared. He wanted to see Yumai again. He said that he was lonely and scared. But he always believed his big brother would come for him. Smiling, Taiyu said thanks to Yumai for finding him and also said that he loves him. Suddenly, a punch landed on Taiyu's face which sent him flying. Umi was the one who punched him. Umi said that Taiyu is shy type, so he never said I love you or anything like that before. Which means the Taiyu in front of Yumai isn't real. Saying that, he flashed a light in front and saw the cave monster with an injured face. This monster is the one who was impersonating Taiyu. At that moment, something came out of the monster's nose, but it quickly went back to his nose. Umi looked at the monster and told him that he's going to pay for making him his own brother. Hearing that, the monster just laughed. At the same time, Fubuda asked Jen if he heard something. Jen answered that he didn't hear anything and asked Fubuda to not scare him like this. Worried, Fubuda said that they should go behind Yumai and Riku. She believes that they'll be safe if they stay together. But Jen refuses to enter that little tunnel. He said that he would rather die than enter that creepy tunnel. He said that they're better off waiting for Yumai and others to come back. Suddenly, Fubuda started crying. Jen sees that and reminds her that Akane is out there all alone. She must be terrified. He told Fubuda that crying will not fix anything. Fubapta then got up while crying and started going toward the tunnel. As she was walking, Jen was trying to stop her. He asked her to not leave him behind with just Hajime. He said that he'll seriously die if she left him alone. He looked toward Hajime and asked him to say something to her. It turns out that Hajime is still watching the same video. Jen couldn't believe it and asked him if he had lost his mind. Right then, Hajime noticed something. He picked up the phone and flashed light toward some rocks. He pointed at one and said, "This protruding rock and this groove here. It matches." Jen and Fubuda couldn't understand what he's saying and asked him. Hajime answered that this spot is exactly like the one in the video. Hajime's guess is that Akane is here. Meanwhile, Riku has also crawled to the other side of the tunnel. He looked in front calling Yumai's name and what he saw shocked him. He saw that Uemai had strangled the monster to death. As the monster fell to the ground, Riku was really shocked. He asked Uemai if he's really the one who took down that monster. He asked him how he did it. Umi just answered that he punched the monster 5 times. Riku couldn't believe it, even though he never saw Uemai losing a fight, but this time, they're talking about a real monster. Then Ye answered that he beat the monster, but he felt something was off. At first, he thought he was seeing things. He saw Taiyu first. Taiyu spoke. He even touched him. It was Taiyu from every angle. Everything felt so familiar. At that moment, the same thing came out from Uemai's nose that came out from that monster's face. But it quickly went back. Riku saw that, but before he could say anything, the rocks behind them fell. A boy came out from the rocks and he said, "I'll kill you." The boy ran to attack Uemai with a little shovel. The boy attacked left and right, but Uemai was able to dodge all of them. Right then, Uemai remembered that this is the same boy who was with Yasmin. Hearing that, the boy calmed down and immediately apologized, saying that he didn't realize he was a person. Riku asked him to not worry, because stuff like him is nothing for Uemai. With that, the boy apologized once more and introduced himself. He said that his name is Marika. He came here with Yasmin to help her shoot. Umi then mentions that they saw his phone. He knows that they went through a lot. Marika made a sad face realizing they saw that monster too. After that, Ye asked him how he even got into the cave. He mentions that when Uemai and his friends came, the entrance was sealed. Marika answered that the entrance was closed, and they couldn't get in front there. So they searched the mountains, hoping to find another way inside. It was getting dark, and just as they were about to head back, something jumped out of the bushes and attacked them. Next thing they know, they were already inside the cave. Now long after that, Yasmin began to panic, like she was seeing something. Then she ran off, all by herself. And what Marika saw after that was exactly what Uemai and his friends saw in that video. He said that he got so scared, so he just kept hiding. Hearing the story about how Yasmin and Marika got dragged into the cave, Uemai conclude that that monster can move freely in and out. Right then, Uemai mentions that there's another exit. This made Marika cry. He was thinking that he's going to die in this place. He's so glad that Uemai and his friends came. Guys, I just realized that Marika is a girl, not a boy. So I'll change her pronunciation from this point forward. Marika continues her story. She said that after a few days she started hearing things. Seeing things too. She couldn't tell what was real anymore. Even when she attacked Uemai, she thought she was just swinging at another hallucination. Learning that, Uemai asked her what she saw and also mentioned that he saw his missing brother. She answered that she saw her dead grandpa. At first, she thought maybe he was a ghost, but he looked so real. She could even feel his hand touch hers. Riku was really shocked and said that both Uemai and Marika were hallucinating. This can't be a coincidence. He said that there's something seriously off with this cave. Umi said not just the monster, something more. On the other hand, Jen and Fubuta asked Hajime what he means that Akane's here. Hajime answered that he noticed when he rewatched the video. The rock formations, those ledges and curves, it's the exact same spot where Yasmin was killed. Jen heard that and again asked him why Akane would be here. Hajime pointed at the rock and said that the layout matches perfectly, but that rock wasn't in the video. Jen looked at the rock and immediately realized that it wasn't in the video. Fubuta went toward the rock and touched it. She was shocked to learn that it isn't a rock, but more like tree roots. From behind, Jen heard that and asked her to not touch it too much. But instead of stopping, Akane increased her speed of tearing it apart. Her guess is that Akane is trapped in there, so she tore it apart as quickly as she could. As it got torn a little, Fubuta saw Akane's face from outside. They immediately worked together and took her out. Fubuta checked her and was relieved to learn that her breathing's stable and is just sleeping for now. Both Jen and Hajime were also relieved to see Akane fine. After a moment, Hajime wondered what could be the reason for her being trapped inside that thing. He wondered if the monster did it. Jen said that he saw this type of stuff in the movie. He guessed that monsters trapped her in that thing to lay eggs in her. Immediately, Fubuta asked him to shut up. As Fubuta and Jen were guessing, Hajime moved forward and touched that thing. When he picked it up a little, he noticed that it was wriggling. This looks like the same thing that we saw coming out from the monster's nose and also from Umi's nose. At the same time, Mariko was shocked to see that Uemai took down that monster. While Mariko was taking a look at the monster, Uemai said that that thing won't be hunting them anymore. He concluded that they just need to find a way out now. Right then, Marika noticed something. She pointed toward the monster on the ground and said, "This isn't the one that I saw." Right then, they heard some voices. From the dark, 2 feet appeared in their sight. At the next moment, we see Kid Hajime sitting in his house with some boxes. His mom called him from the outside. Then we see Hajime getting bullied by his classmates. They grabbed him from both sides and threw him in the almost empty lake. At school, they forced him to lick the toilet and record him. They also forced him to strip off his clothes and record his videos. The kid Hajime was remembering all this. All of this happened in his old school, before he shifted into this new town. His mother entered the house and asked Hajime if he's okay. Hajime smiled and answered that the ride made him a little sick. Hearing that, the mom decided to go out and greet some neighbors, but as she was about to leave, she gave Hajime a package and said that this is from his old friend. Hajime opened the envelope and looked at the paper and saw many bad things written on it about him. At the back of the paper, his friends said thanks to him for all the fun memories and also suggested that they should play again. Seeing that and remembering old things, Hajime wasn't able to hold on and threw up. The next moment, Hajime woke up in the cave and thought, what a horrible dream. Immediately, he thought that it was not a dream, all of that really happened to him. Right now, Hajime's arm is broken and as he felt pain, he thought that his arm doesn't feel like it is his own. He called this place a hell, but to him, it's not all that different from the outside. At that moment, Akane woke up and asked others what they were doing. Everyone looked at her and were really glad that she woke up. They told her about everything that's going on and also told her that Hajime was the one who found her. She immediately thanked him. Then she said that while she was asleep, she had the most amazing dream. It was a bittersweet love story with her first crush. She said that wouldn't have minded staying in that dream a little longer. Jen heard that and told her that no one cares about her dream. Then he asked them if they should go somewhere else, or just wait here. At that moment, Akane's eye suddenly popped out, and blood started coming out from her nose. Before others could do anything, she started melting and fell to the ground. Fubuta immediately ran to check on her, but when she tried to pick her up, Akane's head just rolled out. Everyone got really shocked and scared seeing the scene. Hajime realized that they've only been lingering at Hell's doorstep. Meanwhile, Umi and his group heard a voice coming out from the dark. Umi quickly handed the mobile to Marika and moved forward to check what's going on. Immediately, Marika shouted, and she asked him if he's insane. She said that what she saw was way bigger than the one Umi took down. It even swallowed Yasmin's whale head. Riku also suggested that they should just find somewhere to hide instead of getting in danger. Hearing that, Riku answered that they're in the middle of their nest. There's no place to hide or run. So, Umi said that the only way to get out of here is beat the crap out of those monsters. At that moment, hundreds of those monsters appeared in front of Umi. He immediately asked Marika and Riku to run away as hundreds of hands moved forward to grab Umi. The next moment, Umi, Riku, and Marika were at a different place. They were tied up together and in front of them was a strange pattern on a wall and 2 torches. Behind them, many monsters were standing. All of the monsters looked the same, but one of them had a fat tummy and was covering his face. Outside the cave, a priest was praying in a temple. Stay away from Mount Shireo's cave. Step too close, and it'll devour you whole. It's a place of dread, the man-eating cave, where the cave god veils itself in darkness. This is the same psycho priest that Umi and his friends saw before they fell into the cave. Inside the cave, all the monsters suddenly bowed down. Next, some of them worked together and brought the body of Yasmin there. They plucked out her head and then threw her in the hole. As she fell, all the monsters started dancing and laughing. While they were dancing, I remembered a line that psycho priest said to them. It's a place to dream, the man eating a cave. Outside the cave, a guy received a call that Riku didn't come back home. These people are from the office where Riku works. Just now, Riku's wife called and said that Riku hasn't returned since yesterday. She also asked if Riku came to work. Other workers called it weird and said that they can't even get through to Riku's phone either. Then, the guy asked the boy who picked up the phone if Riku's wife said something else. The boy answered that Riku's wife mentioned growing up in the mountains. When the guy asked the boy which mountain, the boy answered Shirao Mountain. Suddenly, all the workers went silent, which made the boy confused. Immediately, all the workers started talking to each other about what they should do now. Some immediately called the police, and some decided to head out to find the Riku themselves. Seeing the scene, the boy was really confused and asked them what's going on. It turns out that this boy is new to this town, so he doesn't know that people here don't go near Shirao Mountain. Then he asked the boy to go check Riku's wife to see what else he could find. The next moment, Tsuyama was standing in front of Riku's house. Tsuyama called Riku's wife after introducing himself. While he was standing outside waiting for her to come out, he thought that Riku never talked about his wife, so this is his good chance to get to know her. A second later, Riku's wife opened the door and invited him inside. Tsuyama entered the house and after sitting down, he asked Riku's wife if could tell him more about where Riku went. She answered that yesterday morning, Riku suddenly said he was going to the mountains. That's all she knows. She said that Rick left the car behind, so the only mountain one can reach on foot from here is Shirao. Then, Tsuyama asked her if she knew whom Riku went with. Riku's wife didn't know with whom he went. But she can guess. She said that a Riku's friend had come back from Tokyo and he was going out drinking, so she guessed that he went there with them. Hearing all that, Tsuyama told her that the fire department and police have already organized a search team to find Riku. As he asked her to get rest, Riku's wife started tweaking. She started blabbering to herself that nobody knows about Shirao Mountain. Even the fire department and police won't touch the place. Suddenly, her expressions turned serious and she asked, "Did he leave me? Is that it?" Tsuyama was shocked hearing that and asked her to calm down, but she didn't listen. She asked him if he's hiding something from her. For some reason, she suddenly accused Tsuyama and his team of stealing Riku from him. She shouted loudly, "Where is my Riku?" This startled Tsuyama. He immediately excused her and went outside. In the car, Tsuyama wondered if Riku really left his wife because he hated her. As he thought that, he quickly refused it and just concluded that Riku's wife was in shock. That's why she was tweaking like that. At that moment, he received a call. He picked up the call and someone told him that Riku's not on Shirao Mountain. So the search has shifted to the river near the campsite. At the same time inside the cave, the person who was covering his face pointed at Riku. And as he did that, all the monsters started shouting and laughing. Seeing that, Riku started crying and looked toward Yumei saying, "I'm next to be offered as a sacrifice." Umi heard that and asked him to shut up. He quickly started trying to untie himself. But he just started trying when some monsters pinned him to the ground. On the ground, Yumei looked toward Riku telling him that he'll be okay. At that moment, the guy who's covering his face is standing really close to Riku. Subscribe for the next part.